guys, welcome back to my channel, and today we have a review for you. So we will be reviewing Trumpet by Jackie K. I had to read it. I'll give you a bit of background for my gender and sexuality module of my degree, and if it wasn't for that I just wouldn't have read it outright. Being honest now, I would not have read it. It's not kind of something that would have instantly got me, or I would have seen it thinking, okay, never mind, and walk off. Whereas reading the blurb and actually reading about it got me hooked straight away. It just sounded like such an incredible, heartwarming, just human story at the end of the day. It's just the only reason how I could really explain it. It's just that it was a really lovely, beautiful story. Hi gang. That was disgusting, don't put that in. Anyway, excluding that rude interruption from my sister, yeah, so I would not have read this whatsoever if it wasn't for it being on my course. Not that because it wasn't a good book, it's just that I wouldn't have seen this on a shelf in Waterstones thinking, oh, I'm gonna give that a go. Whereas if I'd have read the back and actually delved into it, then I would have been like, okay, I like it. But so yeah, this is my review of Trumpet. So this book centres around the aftermath of the death of a legendary jazz player. He's a trumpet player, and it just after his death, his whole kind of secret life is unveiled to the world. His wife Millie was fully aware, but his adopted son and the rest of the world and his friends weren't aware. Now, I'm not going to say what the secret is because I think it's kind of like a big reveal towards at the end of the first few chapters. So I don't want to say what it is. I mean, can I do a review without saying what it is? I'll try. So I won't say what it is, but it follows the aftermath of the reveal and certain opinions about people close to him, like his adopted son, like his really close band members, and then all of his adoring fans and everyone else with an opinion. So it's really interestingly written because none of the chapters are not in chronological order. It goes back and forward between past and present, and it also fluctuates between point of view. But the point of view is never from the perspective of Joss Moody, who is the jazz player in question here. So it's never from his perspective, it's either always from his wife, his child, friends, and so on and so forth. So it's really interesting to see how his wife views him following the unveiling of this secret, how his son views him, and also how his friends do. So his wife is fully accepting, she knew it from the beginning, she doesn't see him in any other light whatsoever, whereas his son just feels like he's been lied to this whole time, and just feels as though his whole childhood, everything he's known with his father has been a lie as such. So his father's identity and integrity has really come into question after his death, and he just can't quite get his head around why I didn't tell him. Well, to be honest, I also have that question. I just don't get why I didn't tell him, but it's a big thing maybe at the end of the day. So it just follows his life through the eyes of everybody else. The writing in it is lovely. It's so simple, so straightforward, so kind of raw and to the point, especially when it comes from Millie's point of view, who is Joss's wife. Her point of view of their relationship is just so simple, so pure, so natural, rightly so, because, you know, husband and wife. It's just so normal. She can't understand why the world just can't accept Joss's identity for what it is, why they're constantly trying to label things, why everything has to be categorised and set in these heteronormative ideals. But yeah, so she doesn't understand as to why everyone needs a label, everything needs to be categorised heteronormatively, if that's a word, and that people who don't actually fit into a label as such are prescribed one inherently through society in general, even if it's like knowingly or unknowingly, or intentionally or unintentionally, or intended with indiction or not, it is there. At the end of the day, labels are there, and she just doesn't get why people can't be who they want to be. But it follows kind of identity politics, sexuality politics, and what it means to have your gendered identity constructed, and what it means to be a man and a woman, to be feminine and masculine. And it follows Joss's son, Coleman, who following the death of his father has kind of a huge masculinity complex. So he's constantly looking at himself in the mirror saying, oh, I've got big biceps, oh, I've got a big penis, that I must be the best man there is because he has those qualities. And it's interesting to see that after his father's death, this whole notion of what it is to be a man is just thrown into disarray. He constantly questions certain ideals of what it is to be a man, and you also question it too. So it's like, how do people construct themselves to be a man? What is it to be a man? Honestly, this module just like messed with my head. I was like, am I feminine? Or am I prescribed to be feminine? Let's not talk about it. I remember doing my exam and I was just like, I'm losing my head. But it's just really interesting to see, depending on what argument people take. Some people take it in a way that gender is a part of someone's essence, and it is, they know what it is effectively. So if they're born a man, they know that their gender isn't actually male. In their cells and their essence is a female, and it's just interesting to see those sorts of arguments come to light. So some people are so set into their biological gender and their sexuality that it's just the way that it is, and they cannot see the other way. And it's then very interesting to see how we've got this person whose gender is different, whose sexuality is different, doesn't follow the norms. It leaves a lot of questions out there as to, well, will they be gay if they're attracted to women but identify as a man? Or, you know, the other way around, or does that make them straight? So there's all these things floating around that this book kind of brings to light, but also then answers as, it is what it is. You follow it from the perspective of the people it's surrounding. So if that couple identifies as a homosexual couple, fabulous. But if that couple identifies as a heterosexual couple, then again, leave them to it effectively. And it's just really beautifully written in relation to kind of the romance scenes, the sex scenes between Millie and Joss. It's never something that you feel expected to have the information about. It's just kind of always telling you how close they feel, how in tune with each other they feel, how just connected they are in relation to mind, body, spirit and soul, and all of that. So it's really lovely in that regard, that it doesn't give out anything because it doesn't feel entitled to. It doesn't feel like it has to. So I think I'm babbling, but you know, we'll just keep going. As well as the kind of ideas of construction of identity, it's really interesting to see how family relationships and kind of societal pressures play on the construction of identity, and how for instance, there's a journalist called Sophie Stones, I want to say, who is just constantly concerned about being the best woman she can be, and if that means buying designer clothes and updating her wardrobe every weekend, then that's her construction of femininity. And she's always in competition with her sister. That's another thing that's interesting. She can't just be like her sister or less than or anything. They've also always got to be competing with each other, even if her sister is completely unaware. They always have to be in competition with each other, and that's notable because it's just kind of highlighting, this is maybe me being an English student and reading too much into it, but it's just kind of highlighting how women, they can't be comfortable. Sophie is not allowed to be comfortable in the position that she's in relation to her career, her personal life, her business, because she's always less than her sister, and she's then made to believe that she has to compete with her when they should be side by side cheering each other on. Now you can look into that deeper and say that's just society trying to quash women, that they don't succeed because they're always concerned with competing on each other. That's just how I see it personally. Interesting how Kay has like intertwined these different storylines into it, and just how she goes about it really. So yeah, that's it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed the review of Trumpet by Jackie Kay. It's really simple, to be honest, because I just really liked it. There's a lot of things that I like about the book, but yeah, that's my review. If you've read it, please let me know. I want to chat with you. If not, or if you've read anything similar, please comment down below, because I'm always looking for books to read, regardless of the stack that I have over there. Oh god, I just look at it and it's just never going down. So yeah, let me know any of your recommendations kind of in the same genre and field, and I'm, you know, happy to take them on board. But that's it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe, all that good stuff down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!